You likely know this face. Anne Frank is the most universally recognized victim of the Holocaust, her story a mandatory fixture in classrooms worldwide. The opening entries of her diary reveal a 13-year-old in Amsterdam who felt deeply misunderstood. Despite her social circle, she was intensely lonely, a teenager searching for a connection she couldn't find in the people around her. She operated on the belief that paper had more patience than people. To solve her isolation, she invented a friend named Kitty, a blank-paged confidant who would listen to her vent without judgment or interruption. To understand the gravity of what the Holocaust destroyed, we must look past her historical legacy. We have to meet the stubborn, highly opinionated, and vibrant teenager who actually held the pen. Before the hiding began, Anne was a normal student, and her defining personality trait in the classroom was her mouth. She was an absolute, relentless chatterbox. This habit drove her math teacher, Mr. Keesing, to distraction. He repeatedly punished her with extra homework, forcing her to write essays justifying her talkative nature. Anne didn't submit. In her first essay, she wittily argued that talking was an inherited trait passed down from her mother, and therefore something she was powerless to cure. The feud climaxed with her third essay, a satirical poem about a father swan who bites his ducklings to death because they quacked too much. The joke landed. Keesing read the poem aloud, laughed, and finally stopped assigning her extra work. Her sharp intellect and her refusal to stay quiet were how she navigated her world and asserted her identity. By July 1942, the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands brought an overwhelming, systematic threat right to the Jewish population of Amsterdam. The turning point arrived when her 16-year-old sister, Margot, received a summons for deportation. The family immediately fled. They vanished into the secret annex, rooms concealed behind Otto Frank's business offices. 8 people were suddenly crammed into a dark, claustrophobic space. Survival required adhering to terrifying rules. From morning until evening, while the business operated downstairs, they had to maintain absolute silence. A single cough or heavy footstep could mean discovery. The girl who once won arguments with her teachers through sheer talkativeness was forced into total muteness. In that suffocating quiet, Kitty transformed into a psychological lifeline. Writing became a survival strategy, the only place where she could process the fear of detection while her actual voice was forbidden. After 2 years, the silence broke. In August 1944, the annex was betrayed. German and Dutch police raided the hiding place, arresting all 8 inhabitants. Anne was eventually sent to the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. In early 1945, at just 15 years old, she died of typhus. Of the 8 people in the annex, only her father, Otto, survived the war. The diary survived because Miep Gies, one of the helpers, salvaged the pages from the raided annex and kept them safe until Otto's return. When Otto returned, Miep handed him his daughter's writings. Knowing Anne had dreamed of becoming a writer, Otto pushed to publish her private thoughts. Releasing her words was a final act of defiance. It ensured that the Nazi regime, despite taking her life, failed to erase her presence. In 1944, the exiled Dutch education minister made a radio broadcast, pleading with citizens to hold on to their everyday letters and diaries, their ordinary documents, to record their struggles for future generations. This visualization shows a single point rapidly multiplying to represent 6 million people. Statistics at this magnitude are clinical. The human brain struggles to comprehend the sheer scale of the slaughter. Anne's diary cuts through the data with an intimate human experience. Her narrative returns the millions lost to the status of individuals. It reminds us that the victims weren't abstract numbers. They were brilliant, flawed, funny people who argued with teachers and longed for friends. They were human beings whose voices deserved to echo through history. At the center of this historical document is a sensitive, spirited young woman, a talented writer whose promise was brutally cut short. Anne originally confided in her diary simply to cure her own loneliness. Ultimately, that private conversation with Kitty provided companionship to millions around the globe.